Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chukshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tatbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Narayanam Gurum Vande Saranyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gaudamanubhishtam Purnam Radha Dasyam Pradayakam Rupanugacharya Varyam Rupamanjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Bandhavam Yugacharya Narayanam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tuise Namaha. Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Ismerahasara Murali Manohara Radhikara Sikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vrindai Tulasi Devi Ai Priyai Keshava Sacha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare. So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramaradattama Shri Guru Pada Padma Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev. And to my most worshipable Shikshan Sannyasa Guru Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vigyana Bharati Goswami Maharaj. And to all Shirupano Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. So by the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudeva and all Mahabhagavatas Acharyas, we are able to assemble here one more time. To continue reading from Sri Gopi-gita, verse 19, we are going to complete the commentary of Srila Gurudeva of the verse 19. So last time we were reading how the gopis were telling Krishna that when he walks barefoot in the forest, that his feet are getting injured by so many different types of sharp things or stones or any husk, anything like that. So but Krishna is saying, no, if you know that my feet are so soft in comparison to your breasts, why do you try to put them there? Then gopis say, oh beloved, we know you feel great happiness if we do this. We become unhappy by doing it. But knowing that we will certainly make you happy, we forget all our own suffering and become immersed in the ocean of happiness. If we know that our behavior or anything about us bring us a little joy, we become filled with ever-increasing bliss. So here gopis are saying that no matter if they are suffering because their breasts are very hard and Krishna's feet is very soft, because Krishna is happy to put his feet there. So therefore, that is also giving pleasure to the gopis. not only suffering, because gopis, they don't want Krishna to feel any type of discomfort. Not even 1/2 inch of discomfort. But if he feels this is blissful, then gopis, they will also become blissful. Shri Krishna is satisfied in himself, Atmaram, and all his desires are fulfilled, Aptakam. There is no possibility that his pleasure can increase. It is already unlimited. Nonetheless, even though there is no room for it to increase, it does. So when Krishna is with Srimati Radhika. Krishna is beautiful. He is Madana, the transcendental Cupid, the captivator of all. However, when he is with Srimati Radhika, he is Madana Mohan, that personality who bewilders even the Cupid. Raghunath Das Goswami has said in his Swaniyama Dashakam, I will not leave Radhakund in Vrindavan, even to see Shri Krishna personally present in his deity form at Badrinarayan, Dwarka, Puri, or other places. Rasika Vaishnavas may be speaking Harikatha there, but I will never leave Srimati Radhika to go elsewhere. If Radhika is not there, I will not go. Even if Shri Krishna himself calls me saying, oh dear one, come to Dwaraka and serve my lotus feet there. Yet, if I hear that Radhika is also there, I will go there immediately. Of course, she would never normally go there. But if she were to become mad and lose her senses and thus go to Dwaraka, I would go there immediately. I would fly there with more speed than Garuda, who flies faster than the mind. So in this verse, we see the Nishtha of Raghunath Das Goswami to Srimati Radhika. As a maidservant of Srimati Radhika, Raghunath Das Goswami is expressing his loyalty to Srimati Radhika. They are very loyal to Radhika. They won't go anywhere without Radhika. Perhaps you heard about that story that Babaji, who was doing bhajan in Radhakunda for a long, long time, and suddenly he went to Dwaraka to have darshan, and there he was marked with the chakra in his body. So when he returned to Radhakund and he tried to again engage in his bhajan, it didn't work. And all the other friends, Babajis, they all refused his association. Why? Because he left service of Radharani to go to Dwaraka. And Radharani, she became angry with him. She became upset. So therefore, his bhajan completely stopped. So such type of nishtha that Raghunath Das Goswami is expressing here is what the real followers of Radharani, they should have. Okay, continue reading from the book. This raises a point for discussion. We hear that Srimati Radhika left Vrindavan and went to Kurukshetra. We read in Sri Brihad Bhagavatamritam that Shri Krishna left Vrindavan for Mathura and from there went to Dwaraka. Srimad Bhagavatam vividly describes Dwarakadish Krishna going to Kurukshetra and meeting with Radhika there. But we also know that Krishna of Mathura, Dwarka and Kurukshetra is not Nandanandana Krishna or Radhakanta of Braj. He is Devaki Nandana or Vasudeva Nanda, the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, a manifestation of Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami writes in Lalit Madhav that when Krishna went to Dwaraka and Mathura, Srimati Radhika was in such a deep state of separation that she went to Kelamvan, where she entered the waters of Jamuna and drowned. Then, through the rays of the sun, she went to the sun planet. Srila Rupa Goswami is silent about what transpired between that time and her arrival as Satyabhama in Nava Vrindavan. Means he's not revealing what happened because there is, a gap of transformation. Afterwards, after Radhika leaves Vrindavan, in this way, going in the going from Yamuna to the sun planet, then after she manifests as Satyabhama in Nava Vrindavan. Nava Vrindavan is a manifestation of Vrindavan in Dwaraka. So, but he explains that once there, she met Rukmini. Rukmini thought, oh, this girl is exquisitely beautiful. If Krishna sees her, he will be attracted to her and will no longer love me as he does now. She tried to keep the new girl from the sun planet hidden from Krishna, hoping to prevent him from seeing her. Nevertheless, Krishna eventually saw her and fell in love with her at once. Because Rukmini continued her attempt to stop Krishna and Satyabhama, means Radhika, from meeting, Satyabhama felt such painful separation from Krishna that she went to Kaliya Lake in Nava Vrindavan with the aim of being bitten by the poisonous serpents there. She jumped into the lake, and unknown to her, Krishna saw her and jumped in after her. When he caught hold of her from the behind, Satyabhama thought with relief, oh, here are two black snakes full of poison, and they are about to bite me. She could not imagine that Krishna himself was holding her until he returned her around to face him. Upon seeing him, she came to external senses and fell on his chest. Rukmini saw this and thought, I tried hard to keep them apart, but I was unsuccessful. Now they should be married. Krishna then proposed to Satyabhama and married her. Who is the teenage girl who traveled by the rays of the sun to Nava Vrindavana in Dwaraka? And who went to Kurukshetra to meet with Krishna there? This is a significant point. The explanation is that there are three features of Srimati Radhika. One of them, her complete feature, is the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Kirtida Devi. Just as Sri Nandanandan, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is the cause or origin of all his expansions, so Srimati Radhika, the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj and Kirtida Devi, is the origin of all her female expansions. Neither Vrishabhanu Nandini nor Krishna ever leaves Vrindavan. She may think that he has gone somewhere else for a short time and feels separation from him then, but she never thinks that he has permanently gone anywhere else. So Srila Gurudev, he often described these three aspects of Radha and Krishna, right? He's like most of his Harikatha in books, he's always putting these differences because it's very important to know them. And otherwise you cannot understand Krishna Lila, because once you think that the moods are different between all these three personalities, like among themselves, you cannot reconcile many things. So you have to understand they are not the same personality. They are different personalities. So there are different types of separation, pravasa, that occur before the four main types of meeting, known as Sankshipta, Sankirna, Sampanna, and Samriddhiman. So these are the four types of separation: Sankshipta, Sankirna, Sampanna, and Samriddhiman. There is a small separation in the daytime when Krishna goes out to herd the cows. Sometimes man, the sulky mood of transcendental loving, jealous anger, comes between Radhika and Krishna like a wall. This is also a kind of separation because they cannot talk or interact, even though they are together. Sudur Pravas takes place when they are separated for many years. As when Shri Krishna leaves Vrindavan for Mathura and Dwaraka. When they meet after such a lengthy separation, they feel supremely blissful. In Vrindavan, Sri Radha and Krishna do not generally think or feel that their separation lasts for long. Srimati Radhika's mood is this: I am here at Surya Kunda and Krishna is coming from Kusuma Sarovar. We will wait for him. Or she is in Man. Vrishabhan Nandini Radhika does not think that Krishna has gone to Mathura and Dwarka. She embraces the tamal trees, talking and laughing with them, thinking, oh, Krishna is there, Krishna is here. She decorates herself and acts as though he were present. In this way, she lives in Vrindavan and never goes anywhere else. So actually, Srila Gurudev always used to say, there is no actually separation in Vrindavan. Vrindavan is not a place of separation, it's a place of meeting. Because even though they are like momentarily apart from each other, still it's not like a real separation, because there is always the expectation of next meeting very soon. Okay, different from what we say, Vyogini Radha, who is waiting for Krishna return from Mathura. That when she is in Uddhava Kyari, that is Vyogini Radha. And then the third one is Samyogini Radha, the one who goes to Kurukshetra to meet with Krishna there. That also different manifestation, is not the original Radha. So there are two manifestations of this complete and original feature of Radhika as a daughter of King Vrishabhanu and Kirtida. One manifestation is Samyogini, who has the mood of meeting Krishna at Kurukshetra. And the other is Vyogini Radha, who is immersed in the spirit of separation. Samyogini Radha has a relatively submissive, rightist Dakshina mood, whereas Vyogini Radha has a more contrary leftist Vamya mood. It is Samyogini Radha who goes to Kurukshetra and meets Krishna there, and Vyogini Radha who goes to Surya Lok. So that Satyabhama, she is this Vyogini Radha. She is this girl who goes to Surya Lok. Everything that I have explained here regarding these three features of Srimati Radhika should be remembered when hearing, reading, or recalling any pastimes of Shri Radha and Krishna. Only in this way it is possible to understand these pastimes. And I'll tell you, this is one of Gurudev's speciality, especially for those devotees who were coming from ISKCON, background. They were not much, aware of all these things, and therefore they had, quite limited view of and also understanding of all these pastimes. And when Srila Gurudeva, he began to, give them lectures like 91, 92, 93 to GBC members. And later when Gurudeva went to the West, 96, he was meeting so many ISKCON devotees. He was able to actually, clarify many, many nice points and give them proper understanding of how, how to follow all these different pastimes of changing of personalities between Radha and Krishna. Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhika and her Sakis speak this verse beginning, Yate Sujata Charanam. Although this verse may be interpreted as the Dakshina Bhava of Chandravali and her Sakis, it may also be understood to be extremely leftist in mood. Krishna says to the gopis, why do you want to keep my feet on your hearts? And they reply, we know that you'll be satisfied if we do. There is so much that cannot be told here. So you can come to know the hidden meanings through your chanting and a mood of pure devotion. So again, Gurudev is giving this instruction. The gopis' desires are not understood by material intelligence, but rather by realized experience. The gopis continue, we wanted to perform austerities to please Brahma, but his nature is like yours. You both want to make us suffer. Suppose we perform austerities to please him, and we beg him to make our hearts soft. We believe that he may comply, but then you would not be at all satisfied. When you place your lotus feet on our hearts, two things happen. First, we become happy because you are happy. And second, we feel sorry that our breasts are so hard. Still, when we see you a little satisfied, we become so happy that all our sorrows and sufferings disappear. This is a symptom of Mahabhav. So now one interesting thing may come to your mind, as comes to mind, is that when Krishna is walking in the forest, he's also happy, but the gopis are not happy. The gopis are saying to Krishna, you should not walk in the forest with many sharp things. That makes us suffering because you are suffering, but he's not suffering. But still, they're not telling that they become happy. Why? Because they are not with him. He's far away from the gopis. So actually, the gopis, they're only happy if Krishna is with them. Then no matter in which situation, in which condition, then they are actually happy. If Krishna is far away, they will always cause some type of argument. They always, try to somehow or other say that he's in the wrong place and the best place is where they are. This is the whole discussion of the Gopi-gita actually. They're always trying to convince Krishna, you are in the wrong place. Why? Because you are not there with us. So only when you are with us, you are in the right place. That is the gopis' mood actually. So this is a symptom of Mahabhav. In Mahabhav, there are times when, even though Krishna is satisfied, the gopis become very sorrowful, thinking that he's not. So that was I just mentioned now. Sometimes when Radha and Krishna are together, their love for each other reaches such extreme rapture that they forget they are together. At such times, they drown in sorrow, feeling deep separation from each other. Let us take the example of Radhika and Krishna at Prema Sarovar. They were sitting very happily side by side when a bumblebee came and tried to fly near Radhika's lotus face, as if it were a very fragrant lotus flower. Radhika became frightened. Madhumangala swiftly drove away that bumblebee with his stick, and then he returned saying, Madhusudan will not come back. I have driven him so far away that he will not return. In Sanskrit, a bumblebee is called Madhusudan, and this was Madhumangala's meaning. However, Srimati Radhika thought he was talking about Krishna, who is also known as Madhusudan. Even though she was sitting right beside Krishna, she began to weep and then she fainted. Radhika and all the other gopis singing Gopi-gita are in Mahabhav. None of them are below the stage of Mahabhav. Now they weep and say, when Brahma constructed our bodies, he wrote only misery on our foreheads. We even considered performing austerities to please him so that our hearts would be very soft. Although we understand that we will not be satisfied if our hearts are soft, at the same time, we always be unhappy if they are rough. We are uncertain and bewildered about what to do and what not to do. If we know that your lotus feet are happy, then our heart disease will go away as well. So come at once and don't delay. So that is the gopis' conclusion. The best place for Krishna is near them, and the best place for them is near Krishna. That is the feeling of the gopis. The word dhir in this 19th verse means discrimination or intelligence. The gopis tell Krishna, our discrimination sometimes goes one way and sometimes another. Should our hearts be hard or soft? When you roam in Vrindavan, we wonder whether or not you are suffering. Sometimes it seems to us that you feel pleasure when you place your feet on the forest floor. And sometimes we fear it, as it is very painful for you. Our intelligence is caught between these two extremes. We only know that you give us suffering in both meeting and separation. That's why Gurudev is saying that it can be seen by a very leftist mood. And this is the leftist mood. Means they will be chastising Krishna, saying no matter, your association is always bad for us. This is Bhamya Bhav mode. Either in meeting or separation, it's always bad for us. In our discussions on verse 15, I explained one reason the gopis feel pain in meeting with Krishna. At that time, they said, when you go to Vrindavan forest for herding the cows, 1 second or even a tiny part of second, a truti, becomes like a millennium for us. Then when you return, we become happy, thinking, oh, Krishna has returned. Yet even then we can only look at you for a moment. The eyelids given to us by Brahma fall down and make our eyes blink, thus interrupting our vision of you. Sometimes our eyes do not blink for a moment, but then tears come, and again we cannot see you. In this way, being with you becomes even more painful than not being with you. And our unhappiness increases. Hence, you give us suffering in both meeting and separation. So gopis, they are complaining how Brahma created eyelids and also tears. In both ways, the vision of Krishna is obstructed. So the gopis are saying, it's better not to meet with you, not to be close with you. It's better to be in separation. Because in separation, there is less pain. We are dependent. We are not free. We cannot meet with you because we are under the control of our husbands, in-laws, parents, and so many other persons. But you are quite free. So why must you suffer? Why do you go to the forest where the sharp pebbles and grain sprouts can cause you suffering? Your feet are not suited for walking in the forest. Krishna may reply, yes, I'm quite free. I do whatever I wish. So why are you telling me what to do? This has nothing to do with you. Hearing this, the gopis say, it may be true that we have nothing to do with your actions, but how can you say that you do not feel pain while walking? Indeed, you feel it. We think you are cruel and merciless to all your bodily limbs, just as you are cruel to us. It is your nature to give pain to yourself as well as to others. This is very leftist mood. You give pain to everyone. In our opinion, your thinking is like this. My nature is to give distress to others. And when I see others' misery, I become elated. However, if I am to give suffering to these gopis, I will have to accept some bodily pain myself. You then irresponsibly inflict pain upon yourself, just so you can give pain to us gopis. That is gopis' idea. This is the reason you walk in the forest and suffer these injuries to your feet. So in gopis, like madness, transcendental madness, they think that Krishna is walking in a very sharp ground, causing pain to himself just to intentionally cause pain to the gopis so they can suffer by seeing that. So next line, Brahmati dhir bhavat ayusham. The gopis utter the word Brahm, meaning confusion about many different possibilities. It's good to notice about this word Brahm. This pronunciation is different from Brahma because the H is following the B, not following the A as in Brahma. Okay, so this is called illusion, Brahm. Okay, so considering those possibilities, they tell Krishna, you feel pain, but your pain is secondary for you. It is necessary for you to feel some pain because then you can give pain to us. Your heart is so cruel that you feel joy by giving anguish to others. And that is why you willingly accept your own suffering. They continue. A second possibility is that in seeing our pain and suffering, you feel such abundant pleasure that your own pain feels like pleasure as well. It's incredible how the gopis, they can twist, and come out with so many nice arguments. Unbelievable, huh? So now what gopis are saying, that actually this pain that you inflict to yourself just to see us suffering becomes like a pleasure, because it's a pleasure for you to see us suffering. So you don't feel pain at all. Only we feel pain. Only we suffer. Suppose someone acquires a great deal of money and then purchases a building, at which time he receives a registered document that gives him legal ownership. Being the new owner, he happily thinks, what a palatial building I have. He's a tall man, and opening the door with the key, he hits his head on the top of the door frame as he enters, and thus injures himself. Any injury? Any injury? Asked the person with him. No, nothing of the sort, he replies. In the midst of the happiness he feels upon acquiring such a good property, he takes no notice of any pain. Similarly, the gopis tell Krishna, you become so happy when you give us pain, and in your happiness, you think that any pain you feel is also very good. So if someone gets like something which is very, very desirable, extremely, you know what to say, extremely valuable, any suffering you get on the way, you can easily overcome. And we can also put that towards bhakti, or towards sadhu sangha. When we are in sadhu sangha, when we are with Gurudev or great Vaishnavas, we can face any type of austerity. We can sleep anywhere, we can eat anything, we can bathe in any place, we can do whatever, because such a bliss we are having, such association, that those small things which could cause us pain and suffering at that moment become insignificant. So in the same way, gopis are saying, Krishna, when you see us suffering, you take so much happiness out of that any small suffering just by walking some sharp stones will not, bother you at all. Once, when Shri Krishna met with Srimati Radhika and all her gopi companions, he forcibly caught hold of Manjari's hand and pulled her towards him while trying to embrace her. That Manjari began to weep, crying out in submission to Radhika, "Oh, Swamini ji, save me, save me." Srimati Radhika ran over to Krishna and twisted his hand. Now free, the Manjari ran behind her, gasping for breath. Krishna again attempted to catch her, and again Radhika twisted his hand. This time Krishna felt some pain, but that pain was much more pleasurable for him than anything else could have been. Overjoyed, he thought, I have been waiting for this for a long time, waiting for Radhika to take hold of my hand. For the touch of Radhika's hand, even if that is to twist Krishna's hand, becomes so pleasurable that he is not taking into account that pain. The third possibility now, considered by the gopis, can be understood in this way. In Nitya Vakya, it is said, Samsar Gaya Dushaguna Bhavanti. This means that a person will imbibe the good or bad qualities of whomever he comes in contact with. It is a matter of association. There is a story in this connection. A trapper used to go to the forest to catch parrots and other birds for selling. One day, he caught 2 baby parrots, brought them to a town, and sold them to 2 different families. After a while, someone visited the house of the owner of one of the parrots, and the bird spoke sweetly to him, saying, "Welcome, welcome, come in, come in." And also, Rama Krishna, Rama Krishna. That person then visited the house of the owner of the other parrot, which said, "Who are you? Who are you? Get out, you rascal, you stupid nonsense person." Each of these birds had begun to mimic the behavior of those around them. Thus, by one type of association, one becomes gentle, and by another type of association, one becomes rough. Applying this aphorism, the gopis tell Krishna, at first, your heart was very soft, more soft than a lotus, and consequently, your lotus feet were as soft as your heart. But your feet have associated with our hard breasts. Now they have become very hard, and your heart, by association, has also become hard. As a result, neither your heart nor your feet feels any pain when you roam in the forest. Your feet are callous to the stones, and your heart is callous to us. Oh, how beautiful this Gopi's argument. By association of Krishna's feet with their hard breasts, Krishna's feet became hard, and by the association of Krishna's heart with his feet, his heart became hard, and therefore he does not feel any pain anymore, as well as does not feel means any pain, any suffering from the gopi side, as well as from the forest ground side. The gopis then offer a fourth possible explanation, again on the basis of samsargaya dosha guna bhavanti. By association, one may become hard or soft. They say, your heart is very soft, and by its association, your lotus feet are also soft. By the touch of your soft lotus feet, all the sharp stones, shoots, and everything else that might cause pain become soft. It is for this reason that you do not feel any pain when you wander in the forest. Now they are like reversing, no? Instead of the feet getting influence or bad association from the ground, now the ground is getting the good association of Krishna's softness of his feet. This brings us to another point. The gopis say, the earth loves you so much that wherever you place your lotus feet, she extends her soft tongue for you to step on. Perhaps this is why you do not feel any pain. Or perhaps it is this. You are such an ocean of love that when you observed our feelings of separation from you, you also felt separation from us. You became maddened and bewildered, and when thus bewildered, you do not feel any pain. This argument is more taken to the side of the gopis, in the sense that, okay, Krishna, you have no faults. This was actually due to our fault, because you were feeling separation from us, and then you became bewildered, and therefore you did not feel any pain. You did not take notice of where you're walking and all the pain you felt in your feet. Radhika is recollecting her own experience. Once she went to a high place on Govardhana hill to observe Shri Krishna, who was standing below. Even though the stone on which she stood was burning hot, she did not feel its heat at all. She felt as if she were standing in a cool place, under the shade of a tree or in a river. She stood without blinking, feeling so much happiness that the hairs on her body stood on end, and tears flowed from her eyes. Remembering her own experience, she now says, you have become maddened by witnessing our prema, our grief and separation from you. As a result, we're also feeling separation, and that is why you do not feel pain. We can also remember how Sanatana Goswami Pada, he was walking on the beach of Jagannath Puri in the burning sand, and his foot sole became full of blisters, was completely burned, but he did not take notice of that. Such was his state of high consciousness. So he just also did not feel anything on his foot. That's actually what we should feel when you go for Navadip Dham Parikrama. You know, only those who are in such type of high state of consciousness, they can, tolerate the whole parikrama without taking notice of their feet soles. Otherwise, if you start complaining, means your consciousness is not so high, very low, and better you put your shoes to keep your mind concentrated in something higher than your burning feet, So let us continue here. After considering all these arguments, the gopis finally conclude, there are so many possible explanations that we cannot say definitely why you would not feel pain while roaming in this forest. They suppose that Krishna may say, perhaps you are expressing your own suffering, but I do not feel your suffering. When I see your misery, I do not feel any misery. I feel pleasure. He may also tell them, you say that you feel my pain, and also that I am your life, yet you have not died yet. I see that you are walking, talking, and passing your days very nicely. Now Krishna is giving a big, type of like shock of reality. Gopis are speaking so many dramatic things, this and that, and then Krishna say, okay, if it's that much, why you're not dying? You should die at once then. If it's that much you're feeling like the world is about to, collapse, then why not dying? It means that whatever you're speaking is just from your mouth. It's not like a real sense. Now let's see the gopis' answer. It's very interesting as well. In reply to this, the gopis say, you are our life. It is for your welfare that we have kept our life in you. The reason we do not die in spite of such anguish is that you are both our life air and our life. Because you are feeling pleasure, we do not die. You and Brahma, who is also known as Vidata, the giver of one's destiny, are two friends with the same nature. Brahma has created us to give us suffering, and your nature is the same. Perhaps Brahma is thinking, if the gopis die, then the purpose for which I have created them, so that I would become happy by seeing their suffering, will not be accomplished. According to the gopis, it is for this reason that Brahma placed their life heirs in Shri Krishna. And they continue. You are very happy to see our agony, and therefore our life heir is also happy in you. That is the reason we have not died yet, in spite of our agony. But now you see our life heir come out of our bodies as we die. So it means that the gopis are saying, we are not dying, because if our life is in you and you are happy, how can we die? Because we are also happy. Then we cannot die. But then gopis are saying, but now look, we are about to die somehow or other. And Krishna asks, how can you die if your life is still present? And it is in reply to this question that the gopis say, Bhavad Ayusham Naha, you are our life. Now we will die, but our life will remain in you, and you will live joyfully for millions of millenniums. We are going. Shri Vaishnava Toshani explains that Krishna's heart melts when he sees the gopis in this condition. He cannot escape. He thinks, the gopis will surely die, and if they die, I will die. I must go to them at once and satisfy them. Okay, now let's stop playing. This play is getting a little bit serious, and it's not pleasurable, and it's not at all pleasurable. So now I have to come back. The gopis now fall to the ground unconscious, and at that moment, Krishna appears before them. When they open their eyes and see him, it is as if their lives have returned to their bodies. The following chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam reveals what happened next. So this is the end of the Gopi-gita, the 19th verse. When gopis again they meet with Krishna. Means before meeting with Krishna. The last verse they speak, then they faint. They fall on the ground unconscious, right? So that's the end of Gopi-gita. Last verse they speak after they become unconscious, and then Krishna appears in the scene. And after, when they will again manifest consciousness, then they will see Krishna. And that is the interaction which happens next chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 32, okay, verses 1 and 2. Therefore, when we sing the Gopi-gita song, we also sing together these last two verses. Okay, this is very important. So the verse 1 says, Shri Shuka uvacha iti gopya pragayantya pralapentascha chitrada gurudu suswaram rajam Krishna darshana lalasa. Srila Shukadeva Goswami said, O Parikshit, thus the gopis of Braj, brimming with intense eagerness to see their beloved Krishna, could no longer contain their feelings. Absorbed in separation and lamenting, they spoke many plaintive words, their voices heart-wrenching and sonorous. Then the verse 2. Asamma vira buchori smaya manamukam buja pitambara dharasragvi sakshan manamat manamata. Just then Shri Krishna, the crest jewel of the Sura dynasty, appeared before the weeping Brajadevis. A gentle smile blossomed on his face. He had adorned his neck with a forest garland and his body with a yellow garment. The beauty of such a form bewilders the mind of even Cupid himself, who agitates the mind of all beings. Now the commentary. So the commentary of Srila Gurudev on this verse 2, it appears actually in the purport of Bhajan Rahasya. Okay, so the editors, they just add this to the book. The chapter 7, text 16 and 17 from Bhajan Rahasya, Gurudeva commented about this verse. And Gurudeva says like that. Shri Krishna, who is ever skillful in increasing his devotees' prema, disappeared from the Rasa Lila. Devastated and by separation from him, the gopis arrived, weeping at the bank of the Jamuna. There, having exhausted all alternatives in their search for him, they performed the kirtan. Their voices were full of extreme feeling, and they used metaphors with multiple meanings to express their sentiments. As they were full of prema and restless in the pain of separation, their tears flowed freely and continuously from their eyes. Hearing their weeping, Shri Krishna Chandra, who was in the dense, dark forest, suddenly appeared in their midst, manifesting his luster. In this text, Srila Shukadeva Goswami is thoroughly absorbed in Manjari Bhav, and therefore he has used the word Shori in anger as an insult. So just to make sure, Srila Gurudev is saying that Shukadeva Goswami was in the mood of Manjaris. He was in Manjari Bhav when he spoke this verse. Therefore, he's using the word Shori, which is a type of insult to Krishna. Shri Krishna appeared in a Kshatriya family within the Sura dynasty, the members of whose hearts are deceitful and hard. Shukadeva Goswami was unable to tolerate his Swamini's agony of separation from Krishna, and he therefore saw Shri Krishna's hiding as a defect. So it's very, very interesting how Gurudev is putting Srila Shukadeva Goswami here now as a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. Shukadeva Goswami was unable to tolerate the agony of separation from Shri Krishna, and he therefore saw Shri Krishna's hiding as a defect. He addressed Krishna, "The young girls of Braja are simple lovers, and you become joyful by making them unhappy. Seeing the gopis afflicted by grief, you display your prowess, Shaurya." Srila Shukadeva Goswami felt that such so-called prowess was a disgrace and said, "If your heart were truly honest, you would not have done such a thing." This is an example of defamatory remarks used in prema. Only whose prema is deep can speak in this way. Shri Krishna Chandra, the crown jewel of all those skilled in amorous pastimes, appeared in the midst of the Braja Devis, displaying his unparalleled beauty, which is described in this text with 3 adjectives, means Smayamana, Sragvi, and Sakshan Marmat Manumata. Smayamana means, although Shri Krishna's face was radiant and smiling, his heart was remorseful. Smiling is a characteristic of the quality of being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Krishna's smile smiling before the gopis was caused by the emotions he experienced upon seeing them. He smiled to remove their distress and console them. For darshan of his extremely enchanting lotus face would remove all their sorrow. When Shri Krishna, wearing a pitambar, the golden yellow garment, heard the distress cries of the Braja Devis, he came swiftly, holding his pitambar around his neck, so that he would not slip off. And it's also a sign of humility, when you put your dupatta, your chadar around your neck and fold your palms like this, is a sign of humility. So that's how Krishna appeared in front of them, with a small smile on his face and his hands holding his yellow pitambar around his neck like that. He had charmed the gopis with the sound of his flute, at which time all those gopis had abandoned their families, morality, patience, and shyness to arrive at his side. But on that day, he abandoned them and disappeared. Therefore, upon his return, he held his yellow cloth around his neck as a gesture to show that he was praying for forgiveness. Conscious that he had given great suffering to his dear ones, he was admitting that he was an offender, and he held his pitambar with his hands. So this is the meaning of Smayamana. Now next one, Sragvi. Krishna wore a fresh, radiant garland of forest flowers around his charming neck. He wore this garland of cooling lotuses only to remove the gopis' fire of separation. And in doing so, he expressed the sentiment, "You are the flowers of my garland. You are my very heart. By embracing you, I pray for forgiveness and beg you to soothe the heat of my feelings of separation from you. You strung this very garland yourself and garlanded me with it. I am displaying my eternal gratitude by wearing it upon my heart." So the gopis made somehow a garland to him, and he's wearing that to show, okay, I accept your service, I accept your love, you're always here with me on my chest. And then the third one is Sakshan Manumata Manumata. Shri Krishna's extremely charming beauty, embellished by his being in the midst of the gopis, churned the mind of Cupid. Here the words Vyastik Kamadeva and Samastik Kamadeva are concealed in the word Sakshat Manumat, who is the original Kamadeva. The Vyastik Kamadevas are the Kamadevas who exist in different universes. Now the different type of Cupids. Samastik Kamadeva is Pradyumna, and the original Kamadeva is Nandanandana himself. The material Kamadeva or Cupid intoxicates all jivas, But when this material Cupid receives darshan of Shri Krishna's form, which enchants the three worlds, he falls unconscious. Sakshad Manumata Krishna, who is the transcendental Kamadeva, manifested such a form to decrease the gopis' suffering. Srila Jiva Goswami writes in the Krama Sandarbha that Manumata signifies that person who infatuates even Cupid, also known as Madan. Shri Krishna Chandra displayed his Mohini Murti and bewildered Mahadev in his form of Rudra. But Shri Krishna's form as Sakshad Manumata is displayed only in the Rasa Mandal. This is confirmed in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 5.12-13. Brindavana Purandara Shimadana Gopala, Rasa Vilasa Sakshad Brajendra Kumar, Sri Radha Lalita Sangi Rasa Vilasa, Manumata Rupe Jahara Prakasha. Lord Madana Gopal, the chief deity of Brindavan, is the enjoyer of the Rasa dance and is directly the son of the king of Braja. He enjoys the Rasa dance with Srimati Radharani, Shri Lalita, and others. He manifests himself as the Cupid of Cupids. It's good to notice that this Madana Gopala means Madan Mohan. Okay, it's the same. Before, this deity name was Madan Gopal. After, it was changed for Madan Mohan. So now is the end of Srila Gurudev's purport. Now we come to the concluding words. Briefly. So this is a summary of Srila Gurudev's translation of Jiva Goswami's commentary on this verse, means the second verse of chapter 32. Krishna heard the gopis' song of love, full of pathos in their pain of separation from him. Perceiving that they were suffering for his sake and not their own, he then appeared in their midst. By doing so, he demonstrated that those who unhesitatingly put his happiness before their own can easily attain him. In this connection, Sri Uddhava has stated in his prayers in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-58. Among all persons on earth, these cowherd women alone have actually perfected their lives, for they have achieved the most elevated love for Lord Govinda, the super soul of all embodied beings. Their immaculate love is hankered after by those who fear material existence, by great sages, and by us as well. For one who has relished descriptions of the sweet pastimes of Krishna and the gopis, what is the use of taking birth as a high-class Brahmana, or even as Lord Brahma himself? Then, Srimad Bhagavatam also 11.2.42 says, devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the same way that pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. It was in harmony with this tattva that Shri Krishna appeared amidst the gopis, exhibiting a form of such unparalleled beauty and sweetness that he enchanted even the Cupid himself. Thus, Shri Krishna appeared before them. With love and veneration, he had placed the garland they had previously given him around his neck, and it now rested upon his chest. By this, he revealed his desire to be blessed by their embrace and his yearning to be with them only. Srila Shukadeva Goswami describes the beauty of Krishna at that moment in order to bring this enchanting form to the heart of the reader so that it will ultimately manifest there. So this is the end of Sri Gopi-gita book. And it was a wonderful journey with all of you during all these months of reading this amazing book of Srila Gurudev with such deep, deep purports that can soothe our hearts with the sweetest feelings. And I express all my gratitude to all devotees who have, facilitated these meetings, especially Rambhadra Prabhu and Anandini, who tirelessly have, inspired me and also encouraged other devotees to participate and arrange for the meetings. And in between, so many obstacles, so many difficulties came, but they never stopped. They never hesitated. They never, failed to continue this. And now we have gone through this beautiful journey along with the gopis in the forest of Vrindavan, while calling for Krishna to appear again before them. So I pray from the core of my heart to all the devotees, to Srila Gurudev, to bless all the devotees here who have joined this program and those who are also hearing these recordings in the future, that all this realization may come in your heart, and then you one day will be able to be there serving these pastimes directly. Hare Krishna. So now let us sing the Gopi-gita song to close very nicely this program. And after, I will open for questions again. Shri Gopi-gita ki jai, jai jai Shri Radhe. Jayati te dika janamana braja Shrayata indira shashwadatrahi Daita drishata Dikshutavakas Vaidrita savas Tvam vichimbate Sharadudasaye Sadhu jatasa Tarasi jodara Shri Mushadrisha Suratanate Shulkadasika Varadhanignato Neha Kimbadha Vishajalapyaya Vyala Rakshasa Varshamaruta Vidyutanala Vrishamayatmaja Vishwato Bhaya Rishabhate Vayam Rakshita Muhu Nakalu Gopika Nandano Bhava Akila Dehina Antaratmadri Vikana Shartito Vishwaguptaye Sakaudevam Satvatankule Virachita bhaya vrishni duryate charanamiyusha samsmriter bhaya Parasharoruha Kanta Kamadam Shirasi Dehina Shikaragraham Raja Janartiha Virayoshita Nija Jana Smaya Dvamsana Smita Vaja Sakhe Bhava Kinkari Smano Jalaruhanana Charudarshaya Pranata Dehina Papakarshana Trinacharanuga Sriniketana Panipanarpita Te Padambuja Trinukucheshuna Kindirichaya Madhuraya Gira Valguvakyaya Buddhamanogyaya Pushkarikshana Vidikari Rima Viramuhyati Adarasi Duna Pyayayasvana Tava Katamrita Tapta Jivana Kavibiridita Kalmashapaha Shravanamangala Srimadhatata Bhuvigrinanti je Bhurida Janna Prahashitam Priya Prema Bhikshana Viharanam Kshate Dhyana Mangala Rahasi Samvido Yaridi Sprisha Kuhakano Mana Shobhayanti Chalasiyad Braja Charayam Pashu Nalina Sundara Natate Padam Shilatinankure Siddhatitina Kalilatamana Kantagachati Dina Parikshaye Nilakuntale Vararuhanana Vibradhavrita Ganarajaswala Tarshayambu Manasina Smaran Virayachasi Pranatakamada Padmajarchita Dharani Mandana Deyamapadi Charana Pankajam Shantamanchate Ramana Naistane Shuarpayadiha Suratavardhana Shokanashana Sarita Venduna Sustu Chumbita Itararagavi Smaranam Dinam Vitaraviranaas Tedaramrita Atatiyad Bhavan Anikanana Trutiyugayate Tvamapashatam Utila Kuntala Shri Mukham Chate Jara Udikshatam Pakshma Kridrisha Patisutam Vaya Bratri Bandhavam Ativilandyate Antyachutagata Gati Vidastavo Gita Mohita Kitavayoshita Kastya Jenishi Rahasi Samvidam Richayodaya Rahasita Nanam Prema Vikshanam Brihadurashriyo Vikshadhamate Muhurati Spriha Muhyate Mana Brajavano Kasham Vyaptirangate Brijinahan Trialam Vishwamangalam Tyajamanachanas Twasprihatmanam Swajanari Drujam Yam Nishudhanam Yate Sujata Charanam Guruham Staneshu Vita Shane Priyadati Mahikar Kasheshu Tenata Vimatasitad Vyatate Nakinsvi Kurpadi Vir Brahmati Dhir Bhava Ayushamna Iti Gopya Pragayantya Pralapantyascha Chitradha Rudushu Swaram Rajam Krishna Darshana Lalasa Tasama Vira Bhuchori Smayamana Mukam Bhuja Pitambara Dharasagri Sakshana Manamata Manamata Pitambara Dharasragri Sakshana Manamata Manamata Jayo Radhe Jayo Radhe Jayo Radhe Jayo Shri Radhe Jayo Radhe Jayo Radhe Jayo Radhe Jayo Shri Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Brahmanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. So let me know if you have any question or any comments to make.